issue of spiking has been one that has hit headlines in recent years, and this has been especially true in the world of social media. This particular photograph of two girls from Oklahoma on holiday in Cancun, Mexico, received a great deal of coverage. They claim that their drinks of just plain water had been spiked with fentanyl, a synthetic opioid. Although their story was questioned by Mexican authorities, it does highlight both the alarm that incidents induce and how difficult it may be to get a clear understanding of the issue. Spiking has, of course, always been around since humans invented alcohol. Over the centuries, there have been some famous examples, including the one shown here that references a bar owner whose name has become American slang for a spiked drink. The motives for such incidents can be quite diverse. Whilst still deeply unpleasant, at the lower end of the scale, drinks can be spiked to perhaps liven someone up a bit, through to purposely creating a socially embarrassing situation. Nowadays, with the advent of social media, incidents are more likely to be recorded and could cause potential problems for those who have had their drinks spiked further down the line. At the more extreme end, spiking incidents may be used to facilitate crimes such as robbery and sexual assault. The press and social media may often portray someone who spikes other people's drinks as a predatory stranger. In many cases, the perpetrator may be a close friend or relative. It may also be someone who has taken time to win the trust of the victim. This is the case in the scenario shown on the right here, from the soap opera EastEnders. The victim is Honey Mitchell, whose drink has been spiked during a second date when she disappears for a couple of minutes to the little girl's room. A place like Galway, with its lively nightlife and large student population, the issue of spiking is always going to be of concern. In line with other cities, it is important that we seek to adopt the best practices we can in terms of preventing, reporting, investigating, and ultimately prosecuting when it occurs. The support for victims must be central to any approach, and this should avoid victim blaming in any way. Spiking is usually connected to the consumption of alcoholic drinks. Spiking can also occur, however, with anything that is ingested, such as food, other drinks, or vapes. The practice of spiking via an injection of a needle has been reported in some places, especially in the UK. By far the most common substance used is more alcohol, but other substances might be involved, some of which we will look at later. It is somewhat difficult to assess the numbers involved when spiking takes place through a needle being injected into the victim. This is partly because the majority of spiking incidents are, research suggests, unreported. In the United Kingdom, for example, incidents peaked during the last 4 months of 2021, with over 1,000 incidents being reported. This did not, however, lead to any prosecutions, and some commentators believe that social media played a significant role in creating an urban myth. Reports in Ireland also occurred during the same time frame. Garda reports state that the vast majority of incidents were reported in 2021 or 2022. Victims of spiking can be supported in the decisions they make around reporting the incidents they have sadly experienced. For some, it can help as part of the process of recovery. Useful information and evidence can lead in time to prosecution and possible compensation claims. Such information may also be useful in solving other cases where the perpetrator has had a pattern of such offending. We know that many incidents of spiking go unreported. This may be for a variety of reasons. Some victims come across barriers such as venue staff not taking their concerns seriously, or even ejecting them from a venue on the pretext of them being drunk. Even if venue staff do act responsibly, some victims believe that the Gardaí won't take matters further, perhaps due to a lack of evidence being available. Whilst testing the victim for evidence of spiking is best completed as soon as possible, a urine test can be taken up to 5 days later and a blood test up to 48 hours after the incident. Any incident can be reported to the Gardaí at any time, and if a sexual assault took place as well, then to a sexual assault treatment unit. Some victims are also concerned that they have experienced blackouts around the time of the incidents, were drunk, or had consumed illegal drugs, which will make their evidence problematic. Even if this is the case, it will not affect the facts of the matter surrounding the spiking incidents or the validity of the evidence. Quite how spread is the prevalence of spiking incidents? Various pieces of research around the globe give us an idea, but such studies are probably only the tip of the iceberg, as many incidents will go unreported for a variety of reasons, including the ones we have just been talking about. The Global Drug Survey, a self-reporting online survey, cited a figure of over a quarter of Irish adults reporting that they have had a drink spiked at some point. As of November 2025, there is not a specific law that defines a spiking offence, but a bill is currently working its way through the parliamentary process. In the meantime, offences relating to spiking are recorded by Gardaí as assaults, poisonings or sexual offences, depending upon the details of the incident. If we combine these figures together, then we can see the number of incidents that are recorded each year by the Gardaí. It is also noticeable that spiking on official figures is only a factor in less than 1 in 100 assaults overall. Evidence from the 17 sexual health treatment units around the country would, however, show a different picture, with a significant percentage of sexual assaults being recorded as having been facilitated by alcohol or drug use. The majority of spiking incidents that are reported affect young women disproportionately. In around 2/3 of all recorded spiking incidents, the victims are female and aged 25 or under. It might well be the case that there is even greater underreporting of spiking incidents when the victim is male. UK data also suggests that the majority of drink spiking victims are females in their early 20s and are likely to be a student. In addition, there are a number of hotspots around the world which have gained a bad reputation around spiking. The motives involved for perpetrators may vary. They may centre on sexual assaults, robbery, or in some cases a drive to increase profits by adding or substituting cheaper forms of alcohol into drinks. These are often places that young Irish people might want to visit on a holiday or backpacking. A range of different substances have been associated with drink spiking. Alcohol is easily the most common substance used, and without supporting evidence, it may be difficult to prove a case of spiking has occurred if this is the only added substance. Rohypnol, or roofie as it is commonly known, is probably the most common substance associated with spiking after alcohol. A reformulation of the product a few years back now means that it is less commonly used, as it releases a blue dye when it comes into contact with a liquid. GBL liquid, ecstasy and ketamine have been used in recorded spiking incidents. Other substances may also have been used from time to time. There are a range of measures that could be taken to tackle the issue of spiking. Any measure should be underpinned with a desire to avoid any form of victim blaming, something that has unfortunately been all too common in the past. Given the figures we have seen, it would seem reasonable to raise awareness of the issue, primarily among those at potentially higher risk. Others have suggested that education is the key, especially with potential perpetrators. Victims often report that support from licensed premise holders is lacking, so training for workers within the nighttime economy should definitely be considered. Other measures may include higher levels of searches when entering licensed premises and increased levels of security staffing at venues themselves. More female staff in these roles may also be beneficial. Enhanced CCTV use can also act as both a deterrent but also aid in the collection of evidence when required. Drug testing kits are relatively cheap and these could be made available at venues. It must be noted, however, that such devices are not foolproof. Difficulties exist, such as cross-reactions, false negatives, and unreliability when used improperly. This may lead to a false sense of assurance. As noted, drink testing is not foolproof. In addition, simple devices such as caps, bungs, and stickers may help to highlight the issue, but they are not foolproof and could be seen as socially awkward to use. Some campaigns, such as this one with some 600,000 likes, are well-meaning but can also be counterproductive. The warning signs listed may suggest a spiking incident, but they are quite unlikely to occur if a drink has indeed been spiked. Again, this information may lead to a false sense of security. Awareness campaigns may come in a variety of forms. These are ones aimed at general awareness and are usually placed in licensed premises. Others may be more aimed at potential victims, again raising awareness. Other campaigns have encouraged victims to report crimes. One such campaign, Ask for Angela, has been rolled out in the UK and Ireland. It encourages the use of a code word that can be used to alert bar staff to a difficult situation, including those where spiking has potentially taken place. The HSE has neatly summarised the advice that all of us should adopt: not leaving drinks unattended, buying your own drinks, and looking out for others are all common sense measures that we can all adopt to help keep us all safe. Thank you for listening to this presentation. If you have any feedback for us, then do please contact us at training@wrdatf.ie. A range of e-learning modules are also available for you to take. You can find them on the training page of the WRDATF website. Thank you.